everyone, Phoenix Knight here. Welcome to the channel, and welcome to Mystical Munchies featuring the Marvel Eat the Universe cookbook. This week we're starting off with the appetizer, Loki's Kroppkakor. I'm sure somebody will correct me on the pronunciation of that, but let's tell the story. Just like Loki, Kroppkakor are a surprise wrapped in mystery. These Swedish dumplings look like little potatoes on the outside. After all, they're made of potatoes. But on the inside lies the real excitement, a sweet bacon and onion filling. I love serving these guys as a side dish, as they can be filled with any number of fillings. I bet this recipe's ability to shapeshift would make the god of mischief smile. Well, we'll find out if they make me smile, which is not very likely, but we'll see how good they are at any rate. The ingredients are waiting for us at the table, so let's move in that direction. I know today's episode is going up a little bit late, but my schedule got kind of screwed up over the course of the day. So first up, we've amended the recipe a little bit. So as written, we would need 10 medium white potatoes, peeled, boiled, and cooled. That's why my schedule got so screwed up. An egg that we've already beaten, 1.5 cups of all-purpose flour, plus more for dusting, 8 ounces of medium raw bacon that we've diced, a medium yellow onion that's also been finely diced, a teaspoon of allspice, kosher salt, lingonberry jam, and sour cream for serving. Now, I will admit that I was very surprised to find lingonberry jam, because I was all set to say, oh, I'm going to be swapping in cranberry sauce for this, but I actually did find the lingonberry jam when I was at the grocery store this morning, so we will be able to use that. Anyway, let's move into the kitchen and start putting this recipe together. Our first order of business is we're going to take a potato masher and mash the potatoes. You could also use a ricer for this, but a potato masher is what I've... Oh, and I did have one. I didn't think I did. Oh well, now I've got a second one. Let's see if I can mash this down a little bit more. That seems to be about the best we can do with that. So we can bring that out of the way. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to add the beaten egg and 1 1/4 cups of the flour. So we've got the egg here. Then we'll grab 1 1/4 cups of flour. So half. 1 1/4. We'll leave the 1/4 cup to the side for the time being. We're going to stir this up until it's smooth. If it's a little thin, we can add the other 1/4 cup of flour, but let's give this a stir and try to smooth it out. Odds are, the way I'm looking at this, we're not going to need the other 1/4 cup of flour. Honestly, I think I might be more worried about this holding together than I am about it falling apart. Now that I'm looking at it. We'll see how this all holds together, but I think we are all good there. We can put that to the side for the time being. But now we're going to move over to the stove. Next, we've got our skillet that we're setting over medium-low heat. So I put it at about a 3. So now we're going to take the diced bacon and the onion into the pan, and we want to cook this until the onion is soft and the bacon is beginning to brown for about 8 minutes. We'll dump the bacon in. And the onion. We are going to do this in real time, since it seems like this is going to be probably a pretty important step to making sure you've got the filling right. And I'm already curious if this ends up turning. Actually, let me see if I can scrape a little bit more of the egg out. But what I'm curious about is if this turns out. I wonder if you could make like a breakfast version of this with putting like, say, maybe scrambled eggs, sausage, stuff like that. Maybe a dessert version of this would be another possibility. But I'm getting ahead of myself. What say we wait and see how this recipe actually turns out before I do anything with either of those ideas. Alright, that little bit of extra egg I was able to scrape out into the potato mixture didn't really seem like it did much. Let's see if I can break these onions and bacon clumps up a little bit, but that is not seeming likely here. I'm just making sure I got the right burner, because I know I've done that more than a few times in the past, where I was cooking on this burner, but I got this burner started, so I do need to be very mindful of that. That's why you occasionally see me put a hand over the burner like that, just to make sure, yeah, I've got the right burner turned on. I'm going to go grab the next ingredient, which is going to be the allspice. And while this is browning, I will say that if you're not watching my 1985 season ticket baseball replay, you should consider giving it a watch, because it's actually been a lot of fun so far, even though we're only in April. I think we're going to finish May on our next block when the Dodgers play the Padres. But it's been a lot of fun so far watching the season unfold in its very early stages. Obviously, we can't take any kind of standing seriously at this point because it's only April. There's a lot of baseball to be played between now and the playoffs. So we can't even do anything that resembles discussing playoff seedings. But consider giving that a look as well if you're into tabletop baseball, or just even want to check it out a bit. Okay. I'm just looking ahead at the recipe as well while we're waiting for this to cook. Just to figure out, okay, how do I want to block this off? This bacon is definitely taking its sweet time in cooking. Actually, these potatoes are starting to clump together, so they might... So when the next step comes, they might actually hold together. But we will find that out when we get back over toward the potatoes. Okay, the burner is hot, so I don't know why it's taking its sweet time to cook. Maybe only being on a 3 is the problem, but I'm just doing what the recipe told me to do. Maybe if I turn the heat up just a bit. Whoa. My eyes are starting to water a little bit from all the onion in here. Alright, we'll give it another few minutes, and then we're eventually going to add the allspice. We want to cook that until for either 1 minute or until the mixture becomes aromatic. But it's pretty aromatic already, given the way the onions seem to be playing havoc with my eyes. Looks like we're just about ready for the allspice to come in. So the onion is soft and the bacon is beginning to brown. Problem is it's not really browning. It's not doing much of anything here, doesn't seem like. I don't want to turn it up too high, because once I go too far, I go too far. So I'm trying to be careful with that, but I know the burner's definitely on. Because yeah, every time I put my hand down, the burner is definitely, the burner is definitely on and still playing games with my eyes. Okay, now I'm starting to hear it sizzle. I was getting a bit nervous for a second there. At least it sizzles when I stop moving stop moving everything around. So we are making headway at least. What's bothering me is in the recipe, in the example I'm looking at here, it looks like the bacon is supposed to go a little bit further than we are at right now. And now it is starting to sizzle, which I'm very much liking the sound of that. Okay. Alright, well, now it's definitely starting to brown. So now I think we're going to add the allspice for a minute or until everything gets aromatic. So here's the allspice going in. And then that can go back up. And I have a feeling it looks that way because of the allspice mixed in with it as well. So that might have been playing into it a bit as well. definitely getting aromatic, so I think that's where we're going to take it off. So I think that's where we're going to... It's definitely getting aromatic, so that is where we're going to kill it. We're going to set it aside to cool, and then we're going to move back over to the counter. Now we're going to see if I'm being paranoid about how everything holds together. So the first thing I'm going to do is I've got a clean work surface there, and I'm going to flour my hands. And now we're going to take the potato mixture and try to shape it like a log. So let's see if we can get this to hold together. And actually we can pretty easily. I know when I've had to knead dough like this, I've had problems with it holding together, but it seems like this is going to hold together just fine. I don't know if the flour on my hands is helping, or if potatoes are just easier to knead and mix and work together than cookie dough or something like that is. But in any case, I'm not going to complain because we do have this holding together now. So as we fashion that down, I just want to make sure this is holding together, which it very much seems to be, so I'm happy about that. Now we want to cut this into 12 pieces. I don't expect we're going to get 12 pieces out of this, but let's find out. Yeah, I didn't think we were going to get 12 pieces out of that, because according to the recipe you're supposed to. We got 2, 4, 6, 8 though, so that's not bad. Then we're going to flatten each piece into a disc and create a well in the center of each one using my thumb. So let's go ahead and do one of these. Flatten each one into a disc. And then I'll create a well. That's not the best well in the world, but... That's not the best well in the world, but you guys get the idea. But just since as always, I'm going to do the first, I'll do the first one on camera, then I'm going to shut the camera off and do the rest after I wash my hands. Because I don't like getting near the camera when I can avoid it. I don't like getting near a camera with gunk on my hands. So... now, I'll do the rest off camera. Actually, let's change of plans on this one. What we're actually going to do here is we're actually going to go through the next step as well. So I'll show you what I'm going to do, because I'm going to do that off camera as well. So now we're going to take a tablespoon of the bacon and onion mixture. Assuming I've got another tablespoon I can go to. Oh yeah. Alright, so we've got a tablespoon over here. We'll grab a tablespoon of the bacon and onion mixture. Probably not cooled, but we'll work with it anyway. So there's the tablespoon of the bacon and onion mixture, which we're then going to put that, we're going to fold up the sides and crimp while shaping it into a ball. So let's see how this is going to fold. That is not going to fold well at all. I probably need to flatten these down further, but we'll see what we can do here. Well, that seems like it's working so far, but it's not. Well, actually, that is kind of working. So that's what we're going to be doing. We're going to flatten each of these each of these pieces of the potato mixture into a disc, create a well, then take some of the bacon and onion mixture, put it in the middle, and shape it into balls. So now, I'm going to wash my hands so I can turn the camera off, and we'll come back with all 8 of the balls ready to go. Here's our first look at the potato balls as they came out of the off the work that I was doing. They look like they held together, and I think it's going to be fine. So now I'm also working on bringing a pot of water to a boil. We'll actually come back to this once I get the water boiling, but I do want to catch up on a few things around here, so bear with me while I keep an eye on the water. Sorry for the noise in the background. I was actually just getting a plate out that I could pull these out to. So the water's boiling now. So next I'm going to add a tablespoon of kosher salt to the water now that I've got it boiling. And then we're going to put the balls in batches, probably 4 at a time given the size of these, and we're going to let them boil until they float, which should take about 7 minutes. Hopefully we're not going to get too much sizzling, but it's just water overflowing. Whoa. Trying to do this without splashing myself. Three and 4. And you're probably going to hear water running in the background. I am taking an opportunity to get caught up on dishes as well. But we are going to, of course, as is tradition on Mystical Munchies, we are going to watch the first batch in real time. But again, taking an opportunity to catch up on dishes while this is cooking. But I'm also turning around and watching them constantly, so no need to panic. I'm not ignoring what's cooking. A little bit of sizzling, but again, just water, so nothing to panic about. And yes, sometimes nature of the beast in the kitchen, when the chef makes a lot of dishes, chef has to clean up as he goes. Of course, I was also looking at my counter by the sink and very much panicking about what I had over there. And I usually like to do that during Mystical Munchies. When a recipe builds in, gives me a time for a break, I usually like to either get caught up and work on putting the footage together, or like I'm doing now, work on dishes. Right, and none of these have started floating yet. I do see pieces of potato floating though, so they don't seem like they're holding together as well as I thought they would. Which is unfortunate, but nothing I can do about it. At least not now. Actually, some of them are starting to float. And one of them is falling apart. That probably explains the potato pieces Actually, now they look like they're all floating. So now I'm going to go ahead and remove these over to... I'm going to remove these over to the plate. And we'll drop the other 4 in, but we won't watch these boil in real time. We just watch the first ones. We will get the boil on these ones started, though. And then we will come back when the boil on that is all done. If you're preparing this to serve later, the next step would be to keep it in a warm place, covered with plastic wrap until you're ready to serve. And then serve it with lingonberry jam and sour cream. I've got some of the lingonberry jam here off shot, and as you can see, some of the Kroppkakor came apart on me in the boil. Now, the consistency can always be cleaned up. That's not really a concern. What is a concern right now is the taste and determining if I am going to bother with trying to clean this up and make it again. And the only way to find out if we're going to do that is to move over to my desk for the taste test. I have had neither lingonberry jam nor Kroppkakor ever before in my life. So this is going to be the first on multiple fronts. And some of the Kroppkakor, some of the potato mixture actually fell apart in the boil. So that might make my life a little bit easier in terms of getting to the filling so we can see how everything tasted. But let's find out how everything tasted. We're going to see how the bacon actually came through. Essentially, these are twice boiled potatoes, and they're okay, but definitely not anything I would write home about. And I wonder if some of that might have been just the problems I was having with the boil on here, because some of the potatoes were definitely falling apart in the second boil when everything was getting put together. Some of that could have been that I wasn't able to shape them properly. So that might have played a part in it as well. Maybe if I flattened the potatoes down more, I probably would have gotten a better hold on everything and actually been able to crimp everything together. So, like I said, basically an recipe, and Historic Wings, if he ever comments on this, will probably have a lot to say about how I made this Kroppkakor. But that's another episode of Mystical Munchies in the books. Next week, we'll be making the side, Shang-Chi's onion and squid rings. As for the game videos, we're going to be quite busy. As we probably are later tonight going to try for another block in my 1985 season replay in season ticket baseball, as we'll be at Dodger Stadium for the San Diego Padres to take on the Los Angeles Dodgers. As for tomorrow, we will be starting the winter campaign at Arkham Horror, the card game. Thank you for watching the video. Please give the video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Be sure to turn on notifications so you get my content. Be well, stay safe, take care of yourselves and your loved ones, and I'll be back with more videos in the future. Until then, take care everyone.